Salam.
Assalamu alaikum. So
Salam.
I'm gonna say good morning. Suze, what about
Yes.
you?
It is very good early morning, as in 3:13 a.m. Yes,
Oh
this
my
is definitely
goodness.
early morning or maybe late night somewhere.
Somewhere in the world it's late night,
Somewhere
and where
late
you are, it's
night,
early morning.
early
So
morning.
welcome. And today we are meeting someone really special.
Mm.
We're gonna be talking to Aisha Adami Magweta. And she is a purposeful life coach based out of Toronto, Canada. She helps
Toronto.
people, yay! She helps people who feel stuck, underappreciated, exhausted, and unfulfilled
Mm.
change their lives by creating a healthier mindset. I love the sound of
Yeah,
Aisha.
I do
Um,
too.
Creating a healthier mindset, clarity and awareness, and self
Mm.
supporting conversations as they
Yeah.
develop the necessary skills to strengthen their voice and embrace their choices. They
Mm.
experience deeper relationships and get more of what they want. Aisha does this through her newly launched Empowered Expression coaching program. Whoop
That's
whoop!
awesome. That's awesome.
Love
This is really
it.
interesting. So,
Yes.
yeah, so out of Toronto, hometown Toronto. So it'll be nice talking to
Mm-hmm.
her. And as you mentioned, she's a coach and she also is with equity and inclusion strategist, which is
Mm-hmm.
which is a
Wow.
mouthful. So this is going to be a very
I
interesting
would
conversation.
I would love to know what that is. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to talk to her
Yeah,
more
well,
about that.
I'm really excited to talk to her too. So in the next few minutes, we're gonna kick this off with this podcast. This is part two
Yay.
of a podcast that we did. It's interesting because it wasn't supposed to be a part one, part two, but just ended up. We talk about synchronicity. This is
Yes, it happened
synchronicity.
that way.
It
Yes.
happened. So our February podcast is about the new you
Yes.
and looking at, as we talk about traditionally, people start a new year, they start with new resolutions. We spoke with Shabana about that, and
We
she gave
did.
her perspective on it about resolutions from
Yes.
the aspect of being a fitness trainer. So this will be interesting to look at it from a different approach. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
All
excited. So
right.
we have the exercise aspect, and now we're
Mm,
going into, do we say like emotional mindset aspect
I
or
think that's a good way of looking at it, Akila. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, let's say that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Emotional mindset aspect. I think that's going to be cool. So we'll see you in a few minutes.
See you
Yeah.
guys soon.
Take care.
I think I love when my clients have big ahas and they make
Mm,
changes and they
mashallah.
start seeing their progress. Mashallah,
Mm,
I love that because it's as a coach, it's lovely to guide and to work with people, but when you see them start to take off and get
mm,
it and start to really get into their own flow, there's
mm.
nothing like it. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Awesome.
Mm, I
And my
love
husband
that.
and my cats.
Oh,
Make
of
Oh,
sure
course. That is so sweet. That
that's
is so sweet.
awesome.
What about you, Susanna Rose? What makes you
Oh,
smile?
what makes me smile? Okay, that's that.
The
I have to
most, the
think.
most.
The
Mm-hmm.
most? What makes me smile the most? I think when I get an aha moment myself, when I go through an actual process and then I discover something new, and then it makes sense and it starts to crystallize into something that I can
Mm,
actually use and do. I think that's what makes me smile the most on a personal level. And then similarly to what Aisha said, when I work with the people I'm working out with, like, cause I do personal training, and then when they have their moments where they come to a realization about their body, about themselves, then it's like, yeah, all the stuff we're doing, as you said, makes sense. It starts
yeah.
to line up.
Yeah.
Everything in the universe lines up. So that, yeah,
Yeah.
it's got a duality to it. Yeah, there you go.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
Mm-hmm.
And what about you,
Okay.
Akila?
Aha,
Oh,
good.
I thought
Thank
you'd
you,
never
Aisha.
ask. Okay, so me, I think when I'm surrounded by my loved ones, my friends, or my
Mm,
family, I just feel so warm and cuddly and cozy. And I just have a big cheesy grin on my face. So yes, loved ones, loved ones. Okay. Heels,
love it.
flats, or sneakers, Ayesha? Heels, flats, or sneakers?
Oh, definitely flats for me. I'm a big fan of the flats.
Okay, flats.
Yeah, flats.
Suze, what about you?
I'm definitely flats. Ever since being a teacher, you definitely like flats, and sneakers, because I'm mostly in sneakers in the work I do. So yeah, it's a bit of a combination. But yeah, heels, no heels, no. Done with that.
Yeah. I
That
think
was
in my
corporate
20s.
Canada. Yeah.
Yeah. 20s, you were like, okay, I can still wear them. They're painful, but I look good. And then when you reach your 30s, you're just like,
You're like,
mm-mm,
no.
not anymore. So me too. I'm a sneakers girl.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
Aisha, sorry, you were going to
Go
say
ahead.
something?
No, I didn't want to interrupt. I was just going to add that I do occasionally, I like the little heel, just the little baby heel. That's okay when you want to dress up and go out. But yeah, so the
Flats.
big heels are no. Yeah, they're back with the 20s, like you said.
Back in the 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're done with those days.
I'm trying to find a good final question. They're all so good. Okay, that one's tough. I don't want to answer this one. What's one thing people don't know about me? Okay, no.
You asked
this
it.
is a good one.
You did ask it. Yeah.
Okay. Let's flow with this one. What's
Let's
one
flow.
thing people don't know about you?
Ayesha.
What's one thing people don't know about me? I used to take Taekwondo.
Oh.
Yes. And I loved it.
Oh,
And
wow.
then I did a big roundhouse kick and I tore my ACL, and that was the end of that.
Oh, no.
But
Dang.
the collective, but the Taekwondo was such a beautiful experience, because it's a mental art. It's an emotional art. It's a grounding art as much as it is a physical art. And that I was able to still take with me. So
that's awesome.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
That's lovely.
yeah.
Okay.
And lady,
So you have it in your backpack. So you
It's
have it in
there.
your backpack. Yeah.
It's in your backpack. I like that.
Yeah.
What do people know?
Susie.
I was obsessed with learning Chinese, Mandarin.
Wow.
Yeah. And another thing, when I was, well, people wouldn't know this, but when I was young, I actually was fluent in Italian.
I didn't
What a
know that at all.
linguist.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah. And I could probably still pick it up. I mean, I speak some languages, but yeah, I was fluent in Italian when I was young, because I lived in an Italian neighborhood, Western Road, if you know Western Road, Ayesha.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I used to go to Italian classes. And I also was fluent in German too when I was 13. I know all these language things, but yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's my
Linguist.
secret sauce. All right. Now, there you go.
What about tequila? Yeah.
This question is hard for me. Like, it's because I'm
You
so
asked it.
open. I know, but I don't know what someone doesn't know about me. I think everyone who knows me knows everything about me. But okay, wait, let me think.
Mm.
I can't think about something that nobody knows, but maybe you guys don't know. So
Okay, that's it.
when I was young, I really wanted to be a pianist. Yeah, I really did. But it just never happened. I
Inshallah.
loved piano, I loved music, and yeah. So that's something maybe you guys don't know.
All right. No, I didn't know that. So yes, that's a discovery. Definitely.
There's always time. There's always time. If it's
Thank you.
Yeah, in you and you feel drawn to it, you should do it. I didn't become a singer, songwriter in a band until I was in my late 30s, early 40s. So,
Wow.
That's right.
If you want to do it, just follow it.
I forgot. Yes, the band. Yes,
Ayesha.
Yes.
So you're currently still in a band and singing?
I was in a band until the end of 2020. And we put out music. There's music on YouTube and on on
I need to check this out.
Yes, you have to check it out.
My
We'll talk
stalking,
about it
my
later.
stalking continues.
Different stalking now.
Stalking continues. The band at the time was Deadbeat Superheroes, and I was in that band for about 10 years.
Yes, I remember. I know because I was following you, and I've been stalking you for a while. So
you're so lovely.
Oh, gosh.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. All right, let's kick into it. So we're ready.
Yeah.
We have some questions, and then we're going to kind of go off tangent a bit and talk about. So the topic is the new you. This is the topic of our thing, and this is part 2 because we had part 1, and we'll send you the link for part 1 for the YouTube. When we finish, we can publish it. So let me start off with the first question. How are you approaching 2022 in the light of everything that's going on and with the pandemic and stuff like that? That's the first question.
That's a big question.
It's a big question. Yeah.
It's a big question. Yeah. Thank you. I think that I would say that I feel like I'm in sync with a lot of people and what they've experienced through the pandemic. And it's been 2 years of pandemic life. We're going into the 3rd year now. And so there's a lot of fatigue. There's a lot of overwhelm because it feels like life is never going to go back to normal. And having said that, now normal is actually different. It's not what it used to be. So we are going into a different kind of normal, right? And even if we were given the opportunity, I'm not sure that people would go back to that normal because there was a lot of inequity in that normal as well, right? So we saw a lot of that through Me Too, through the Black Lives Matter movements, through everything that's happening in the environment. Like we're seeing all of that stuff, that everything that we've done up until now, it really has been unsustainable. And there's been injustice involved and inequity involved. And so what we want to do now is move forward in a way that's really better for us as a collective humanity and better for the planet. And the best way to do that actually is to start right here with ourselves, right?
Yes.
And I was an activist, like a political, out there on the street, public speaking activist for 10 years. And I poured a lot of energy into that. And what I do now is also a different kind of activism, because really what I've come to realize is that if we don't start here, we're not going to be able to take those changes into the world. We need to start right here. So for me, that's where I've been starting. So it's really, and I've been starting the year with some health issues that have really been life-changing for me in terms of how I live, how I interact in the world. And so this is really a place where I'm looking at self-care, self-assessment, self-nourishment, finding ways to start implementing and making change, because making change is not easy.
No, not at all.
It's not an easy thing.
Thank you for being honest. You're so honest. I mean, this whole thing, and I know you're speaking, we won't go into depth of it, but what you talked about with the health and just letting people know and letting people, it's okay to talk about this, because there might be people going through the same thing.
Yes.
Don't have the voice. So you're giving voice to things. So I think that's awesome. I just want to make that
think that's beautiful.
Yeah,
and also, Ayesha, I like what you said about, there's so many things going with these big movements and big energies kind of like, being thrown up. And but then at the end of the day, like, how do we make the most change? We come back to the self and we think, okay, how am I going to be the best version of me so that everything that I give out and everything that I am is contributing in a positive way to those people around me. And I have a question, like, how do you think, because I think a lot of people, including myself, we're going through this kind of awakening. I'm going to call it awakening. There's so many different words to call it, but where to start? Like, where do you start when you want to make changes in your life?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Akila. And I think it is with the thing that causes you the most pain, the thing that keeps you the most stuck, the thing that you've really wanted to change for a long time and you can't. But it's sometimes also coming to an even more basic level of that, right? So for example, when you're talking about, Susanna, you mentioned about health and weight loss and things like that, is that, you know, people sometimes don't realize how things fit together. So if we're thinking about how do I take care of my health, one might focus a lot on weight loss. Like, I got to lose weight, I got to lose weight. But you know what? If you're not sleeping at night, if you've got way too much stress on your head, if you're not speaking your truth, then your weight loss is all connected with that stuff. And so it's breaking it down and saying, okay, what are the pieces of this puzzle? Where can I start that I can take small steps, that I can see results, and then I can sustain them? And that's how you got to start.
That's awesome.
I think it's incredible that you said small steps, because we talked to Shabana yesterday.
Same thing.
She mirrored your exact thought. She was saying, like,
Mashallah.
don't feel overwhelmed. Just take small bites of the mountain, you know, take small steps, and that will start growing.
That's
awesome.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
Okay.
That is
good stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Akila, you have a question, right?
Yes. So we're talking about, sorry, I get sometimes, we're talking about the new you and how to, what that is. What is this new you? It's a different thing to everyone. How can we swap out resolutions for redirection was one of the questions.
Yeah, that's a great question too. And I'm going to respectfully offer that it doesn't, that it's you. It doesn't have to be the new you. Let's talk about you embracing and loving yourself, where you are in this moment. So how about you in this moment? Where are you in this moment? How do you feel in this moment, right? Because one of the reasons why, and I wrote an article at the end of last year about swapping out resolutions for redirection. And the reason why I wrote that is because what I find is that resolutions are unsustainable. And primarily I find them unsustainable because of two main reasons. One is that, first of all, people set them up in a way that they feel ashamed of themselves, or they feel like there's something wrong with them, right? So they're thinking about, I'm too fat, or I don't exercise enough, or I don't do this, or I don't do that, and XYZ. And so it's all rooted in shame, and it's all rooted in feeling badly about yourself, right? So for myself, I really want people to feel worthy and compassionate to themselves where they are in this moment, because there's nothing wrong with you. There's, there may be things that you would like to tweak or adjust or shift, but there's nothing wrong with you. You are where you are supposed to be in this moment, and you're here because you are on a human journey to learn, right? And I have said also that perfectionism needs to go, like, drop it. It's not good for you. Perfectionism is toxic. So what we want to do is we want to get rid of that and let people be their messy, imperfect, maybe sometimes loud, sometimes emotional, sometimes, be who you are, and see and embrace yourself where you are. Right?
Yes.
I mean, I think it's beautiful. It's true. It's really true.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
And I don't want to say but I was working at a kindergarten for the last 2 weeks just as a part-time. And of course, like, you see yourself in these kids, these 5-6-year-olds. And the connection that I want to make with what you're saying is, there was a boy in the class, I'm not going to name any names in case his mom's watching the podcast, but he would often have, I don't want to call it a meltdown, but he had a very emotional reaction to things that happened around him all the time. And I was watching the other kids responding to him, and also the other teachers. So what would happen in the classroom is, the teacher would come and hug him and say, it's okay. Like, would ask him what's happening. And then he would have this trend, a lot of anger, a lot of big emotions. And and he would cry very frequently. And one of the teachers said to him, you know, it's okay now because we all understand you, but when you get to big school, no one's gonna let you cry like this, you know. And so we are socialized. And it's because she's trying to protect him, because that's what happens in big school. You get bullied. There's no one watching there's no one regulating or helping you regulate your emotions or helping other people respond to your emotions. And so I was thinking, oh gosh, now the student is going to start thinking, I can't cry anymore. I can't express how I'm feeling.
Especially a boy.
Yeah.
Especially a boy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how do we, I mean, a lot of us are educated like this. Don't cry. Don't show other people your emotions. Don't show up being vulnerable. Don't show up saying what's happening. And how do we like as adults now, because that boy is going to grow up into an adult who just keeps pushing everything down. How do we become brave again? How do we become brave to just cry and be like, I'm crying, so what?
Yeah.
That's a big one.
Sorry, go ahead, Susanna.
No, I said that's a big one. You go ahead. I'm just writing. Yeah, go ahead.
It's all about unlearning and rebuilding. So when you see those patterns, when you become, because I think the big thing is being aware of where this is coming from. So we've got all these emotions all tamped down and pushed down, but you know, I hear a lot of people say things like, but that's just the way that I am. Well, I can't, that's how I learned. You know, I can't really change this. And the thing is that this is all the negative self-talk. This is all what we've been conditioned, as you say, been socialized, how we should conduct ourselves in society and what we should do within even the family unit or within people that we know. And what we want to do is with those little steps is just start to notice, just start to observe. Where's that coming from? Why do I think that way? Why am I feeling this way? Oh, what's happening with so-and-so, or what's happening? And not to judge, because the biggest critic in our head is our own critic, right?
Right.
So what we want to do is we want to recognize that there's a judge there and just say, okay, I see you, but just turn the volume down and say, okay, I'm just going to turn the volume down on you for a little while, because I need to just observe what's happening in a non-judgmental way for myself and for other people. And then when you start observing it and you start understanding where it's coming from, and that's something that I work with people to do, is to really understand, why is it that you're feeling this way? What are you feeling? Where is it coming from? It served a purpose at one time. Do you need to continue this way? Do you want to continue this way? What would you like your life to be like? And what are the little steps that you can start taking to let that open up? Right?
Finding the voice. I love it. I love it. Finding that voice. A lot of us have, you know, taken that voice and just, I don't want to say crush it, but just swallowed it up and put it in a little box and kept it, you know, nice and safe. Yes. But it's just not there. And then let me segue into that, the post that you mentioned, which we had on Facebook, the Imperfect You, which I mentioned yesterday with Shabana also, yesterday, the day before. Anyways, and that whole concept of the Imperfect You it's almost like the antithesis of this concept of what we're talking about, resolutions. But I like that, embracing the imperfect you, because as what Shabana said and what you're saying, we're imperfect.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, and as perfectionism is toxic, and that's a whole thing. This concept that when the year, like the new year rolls in, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this. Why? Yep. Right?
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly. That's the second part of why resolutions don't work, is because we're doing them to fit into somebody else's reality, to fit into somebody else's standards, right? We're not doing it because it's meaningful for us. We're doing it because we need to fit into somebody else's version of what is worthy, what is good, what is acceptable, what is, you know, XYZ, whatever that happens to be, you know?
Wow. Yeah.
So I kind of feel like it takes a lot of courage and bravery to show up as you, the imperfect you, and just be like, okay, this is me, you know? Can you give any advice on how you can, or how I can practice that courageousness?
That's such a it's such a tender question.
I like that tender.
It is a tender question. And let me tell you why, because it all has to start with us. And when we give ourselves permission to show up to ourselves, then we can start showing up to other people. So the key, first of all, is to show up to us. And I'll give you a little example. So I may be a coach, but I'm not immune to the, I'm comparing myself to other people and, I should be this or I should be that, right? So just a little bit over 2 years ago, I was having one of those meltdown moments where I was looking at all these other coaches and all these other providers on Instagram and other places and thinking, I'm not, I don't have this beautiful surrounding. I don't have these beautiful clothes. I don't look as good. I'm too fat. I had those thoughts. And I thought to myself, okay, I need to make a change. I need a big change. I need to just do it. And even despite how I feel about resolutions, I was like, I'm going to start intermittent fasting. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to do it. All right. I'm going to do it. And so in December of 2019, I started intermittent fasting. And of course, like anything that you start thinking that I need to get those quick results, that didn't happen. I'm a woman of a certain age. So, it doesn't happen that quickly anymore. Sometimes it doesn't happen at all. So you have to just go along with that. But what happened was that I started doing it. And what I realized was that, I'm somebody who has gone through a lot of different life experiences and has experienced trauma. And food has always been one of those things that has been comforting for me. So when I start beating myself up about food, right, then I am repressing all the difficulty that I went through, all the challenges that I faced, and everything that I've done to get to where I am now. And when I did that intermittent fasting, what happened was that my relationship with food began to change. I began to see, why am I eating? When am I eating? How am I eating? What are the foods that I'm eating that actually don't give me any joy? What are the foods that do give me joy, right? And I started to understand that I didn't want to have this relationship with food where I wanted to enjoy the food if I was eating it, but I didn't want to eat the food to get enjoyment, to soothe myself, to take the place of emotion. And then something started to shift in me. Then the weight loss was not the focus. The focus was, okay, how many days can I intermittent fast? What difference is it going to make to me? How do I feel about myself? And I started noticing, so from the food, I went to the emotions. So where am I feeling this? Why am I feeling this? How is this happening? And then, okay, giving myself permission. I feel awful, or I feel happy, or I feel like despondent, like allowing myself to feel those things, right?
Yes.
So fast forward so I've been nonstop intermittent fasting now for, I think my last one was 765 intermittent fast, right?
Wow.
Keep going. And I may have lost maybe 15 pounds, right? So not anywhere near like the 50 pounds or whatever that I feel like.
That's all right.
Right. But in allowing myself to do that, I started being vulnerable to myself.
Yeah.
I started letting myself understand, who am I? What are the things that bother me? What are the things that make me feel good? And that's how I can bring myself out to other people, because I'm making space for me to do it myself.
I love that.
I love that so much.
I love that. Making space for yourself. Yeah. I'm a notes taker. So if you see the pencil moving,
I feel like
I love it.
You're saying the magic happens when you get to know yourself.
Oh, 100%.
Through
100%.
all the emotions, and you're starting to notice things and be mindful, like, oh, this is related to eating. Oh, intermittent fasting is telling me now why I eat, when I eat, what I eat, and how that's related to how I feel.
Right.
And then you're kind of becoming a little scientist about Ayesha. Like, oh, I'm starting to get interested in Ayesha now.
That's right.
Yeah, that's so exciting.
Because how do you take that time How many people do you know that actually take that time to get to know themselves and enjoy themselves? Like, enjoy me. Enjoy you. Like, how many people are doing that?
Exactly. And we are the experts on ourselves, right? We are the experts on our body. We know our body more than anyone else, but yet sometimes we give our agency to others without even doing our introspective, right? Yes. And if we spend that time with the introspective and look at ourselves, and as you said, go through these experiments, go through these different stages, you'll find out so much. We have to sort of take back our agency. Does that make sense?
100%. Absolutely. Take back your agency. And also, and it starts with giving yourself permission to be where you are. If you're messy, if you feel sad, let yourself be that way. Let yourself be there. And then think about, where is that coming from? Because sometimes it doesn't belong to now. It belongs to something in the past that is unresolved. Yeah. The little child, we talk about that. Akil and I talk about it, giving, saying to your little self, your little child, it's okay. It's okay to go through this emotion. It's okay to go through this process. It's okay to have these feelings, and the healing comes from, as I said, and unfortunately, and as what the example Akila gave with the little boy, a lot of that happens. And then, as we said, it becomes this box, a very convenient little box that we put everything in. And then we come in and we have this beautiful mask in front of everybody. That is right. Yeah.
Right. But it's not us. So, I mean, if we're going to come into this new year, into this new experience, and it's like exposure.
Yeah. Yes.
Exposing self. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
That sounds scary though when I say it, actually.
Yeah.
Well, in those terms, it sounds a little scary. But I would say you're absolutely on the right track. It's about being fully present. And I think, Akila, for yourself as a Reiki instructor, as a meditator, Susanna, for you as a health coach, as a fitness instructor, and what I do, what we're all trying to do is to help people become their whole selves.
Yes. Right.
Be your whole self. I cannot tell you how much I dislike that saying, be your best self. I don't like it. I never use it. To me, it's about be your whole self.
Yeah.
Be your whole self. Because when you're your whole self, you will be whatever that best self is for you. You'll become that, but don't focus on being the best. Focus on being whole, because you don't have to be perfect.
That's beautiful.
I love that.
This is the problem we have, because you know what, we're coming to the conclusion, and I'm thinking we need to do a definite Ayesha moment again on the podcast, because we are getting some stuff, but people, it's like they're just inside our conversation. It's beautiful, the things that are coming out, but I love that. Be your whole self.
Be your whole self.
Your whole self.
I gotta tell myself that.
Yeah. I know. I got shivers, man. I got shivers. Oh, good stuff. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jazakallah khair. Thank you. That is just it really capsulizes everything that we were talking about, and it makes so much sense. And yeah, it's embracing you and being okay. And the new you, there's no such. Well, I mean, what is the new you? It's just be you.
Be the whole you. Throw that out.
Your whole you.
Yeah.
We're throwing that out.
You. Yeah.
Be the whole you.
Yeah.
Oh,
so Ayesha just gave us some gems. You gave us some gems.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, I'm so glad.
Yes.
Okay, well,
and we will attach Ayesha's links at the bottom of this video.
For sure.
So please make sure to check out her beautiful Instagram.
And we're Facebook also, if anything, but definitely for nice Instagram. And and a quick question about you and the work that you do. Do you do work with people one-on-one? And do you do Zoom also? Like, if you have international clients, would you work with people?
Yes, okay. I work internationally over Zoom. Good. Yes, one-on-one. And I also do webinars. So there's another one coming up. If you
let us know. Let us know.
I will.
We will let people know about that. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you
for the time. I think this is awesome. We have there's too much going on. We're going to have to do the post.
We'll hit it off.
We have a lot to talk about.
Before Ayesha leaves, I just want to say thank you, Ayesha, for showing up authentically and compassionately. I feel so much compassion from you. So that's really just by being you, because this is what I believe, just by being you, you are such a light to so many other people.
Definitely.
Trying to find that like truth and vulnerability and authenticity. So thank you
Gorgeous.
so much.
Thank you so much. Take care. We're going to stop.
Thank you. Such a pleasure. Thank you.